Hello, hello, hey, this is okay, and we're working on Wendy Wonka's epilogue of the epilogue. This is issue number 2, and pre-orders coming Tuesday, October 29th, which is, in like 4 days from now. So I am cramming to get all this stuff finished and available. This is issue 2, and it should be about 16 pages. I'm working on, sharing the link real quick. So if you are here, I'm glad you're here. I'm going to go ahead and try to get a few more people the link to get here. I'm on Twitter or X, DeviantArt, and Discord, and Subscribestar. Yeah, so I'm just posting those links there, and also, of course, we're on YouTube. So if you're subscribed, thanks, and you should have gotten a little notification that we're going live. This is day 2 of live streaming. We were here yesterday for a good 4 hours, I think. So that was a really long stream, but I enjoyed it. I kind of had a lot to say, so just talked for a good 4 hours, which is very uncommon of me. But anyways, we're getting going here. As you can see, this is a page from the comic, and today I'm going to be coloring it. So I've got it flat colored, and I've done a little bit of work on it so far. I definitely wanted to get the most of the colors down, so I wasn't having to go back and forth between yesterday's and today's page too much, because I'm sure it's a little disorienting when you're watching to see the pages get flipped like that. But here we have Brittany, the cowgirl, who is basically either the star or the co-star of the issue. Let's see what we got here. We've got my layers over here, flat colors, inks, and a multiply layer. I need to change that to multiply. And so I'm just going to jump into it now. Yesterday I was talking about how I was wondering if I've been noticing it's been very difficult to stay focused on a movie or a TV show, and I noticed that, and I was getting a little bit worried, like, am I losing my ability to focus on a story? I know that's been something that gets talked about in the when people are wondering what's going on with the entertainment industry, why is Hollywood failing, and what's going on with all the production and the storytelling. The whole industry is kind of getting shook up, and so last night I got my answer. I got my answer a lot faster than I expected, because I turned on my TV, and normally I can turn my TV on, and there's this whole we got a TV, a small TV, and it came with all these channels, and I I don't know what I'm doing, but we turned the TV on. We were like, wow, we actually get TV channels. I didn't expect to get TV channels on there. We weren't paying for it or anything, but we had TV channels. I know that used to be a thing, but you can't just plug your TV in and get channels now, can you? Or at least that seems like a really weird concept. You should be paying for something, right? So I'm not really sure how that happened. It was a Samsung TV, and we were able to watch I don't know how many channels there was. It was into the thousands or something. So maybe it just came with this free trial or something, but we didn't ever have to sign up for anything. So it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Anyways, I turned on the TV, and I was going to try watching some Creep Show, the reboot of the Crypt Keeper series, because that comes on really late at night on, I think, AMC, and there's commercials definitely, but it's fun to watch a little bit of before bed. And I turned my TV on, and nothing. There was 0 channels, not even a guide, no explanation, just like, you know, nothing available. You know, like plug something in to your TV. There's no source detected. So I don't know. I really don't know what that was all about. But that was a long story just to say I turned Netflix on last night, and I saw The Gentleman. I was like, I'll turn it on to fall asleep to. And so I turned The Gentleman on, and I was like hooked. I watched it for 3 hours before bed. But there you go. There's my answer. Like, no, it's not. I've lost my. You know, I haven't lost my ability to stay focused on a TV show or a movie for hours. I've just not been seeing things that interested me, and The Gentleman really did interest me. It's the Guy Ritchie mini series, I guess. There's 8 episodes, and each episode is like, I don't know, like an hour long. But I really was addicted to it. I was binging it, and I watched like 2 more episodes today, so now I'm on episode 6 of 8. And I would recommend it if you like Guy Ritchie at all. You know, I liked Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I mean, I was a big fan of those when I first watched them when I was, you know, younger. How long ago was it when I first watched those? It was a while back. But those feel like very old movies now. They were already kind of old when I saw them. It wasn't like I saw them when they first came out. But I liked how they're a little bit different than he's definitely got a style, and you know, Brad Pitt was good in them. Isn't that where like Jason Statham kind of got his start? And I like the soundtrack for those movies. Like, they had good soundtracks. All right, so I think we're about done with get this going. Yeah, there we go. The history bar. Yeah, so The Gentleman on Netflix. If you like, I thought it was just amazing that there's still productions coming out that have a male lead actor. Like, I don't know what the name of the actor is. I do recognize him from something, but you know, that just doesn't really happen anymore. So it's very refreshing, and it's a good show, so that helps. And there's also like a co-lead that's you know, a really good actress. She's good, and I thought she is a very well cast for that role. Very believable, and I don't know, I'm just enjoying it. That's The Gentleman. Oh, I need to pull up the chat. Let me pull up the chat. Pop out chat. If you have any questions for me or anything like that, feel free to. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. If you have any questions, feel free to chime in and sound off. Ask me anything you want to. Let me get it going here. There we are. Pop out chat. Oh, hey. I can't believe I forgot about the chat. Okay. Hey, Nicholson. Guy Ritchie is a good director, but he popularized a kind of saturated trend. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, credit to him for starting that trend, at least. But, yeah, I mean, I even, when I was, you know, like I enjoyed making movies and stuff for a while, and I definitely tried to create some movies like that, but I can't really think of any popular movies that, you know, off the top of my head that felt very similar to those. Basically copied the style. But yeah, I mean, props to him for starting a style trend or something like that, you know. I don't know what, I'm not calling it the right thing, but that's always cool. And You're responsible for starting a style or trend. Okay. Trying to make that helmet look a little bit brassy, but I didn't want to give it too much saturation or color. I thought brown was good because, you know, she's about to go into blue juice, which is gonna be a lot of color. And if you do everything with high amount of color, it's gonna start looking a little bit not so great. Hey, Ghosty. Hey. And I'm on YouTube and like to do things on YouTube. I used to, when I first started YouTube, I was thinking like, oh, I'll be able to make some, you know, side money with, you know, monetization and stuff, but quickly learned like, nope, that's not going to be possible because I don't think you can monetize videos when, you know, given the nature of that kind of thing. So YouTube is more of just like a fun side quest. Not really something I'm going to be, you know, putting a lot of time and effort into, but one thing that we need to do is some like deep dives into comics about, you know, that I've done. I want to do like a review, I guess, of comics that I've done and kind of have fun, because like that would be, I need to do it really well, because like you only get to do that like once, like do it once and do it really well. But that seems like it would be a blast to do. That's definitely on my high on my list of things to do. We need to get that going. I don't know when I can do it. That's the thing. It's like the comic schedule just really just doesn't allow me any extra time to do side quest. Side quest. Anybody out there play Zelda? Alright, so there she is. I was kind of debating on how to draw what was inside of the helmet through the glass, because you could just like, you know, draw what you normally see and then kind of put like a lower the opacity of it, pretty much like do a very light eraser over all things, and it starts to kind of look like you're looking through glass. But I think I'm just gonna do blue glass, make things a little bit faster, because I feel like I'm running a little bit behind. I've got a little bit more to do with inking, and I was on my schedule, I wanted to be completely done with inks and completely done with 3 pages of coloring today, and that's not gonna, I'm not, I might be like I'm at least a half day behind, so probably Saturday or Sunday I'm going to be working like all day on this. So that's not really fun to think about, but that's where I am. I'm putting a lot more time into the comics than I used to. You know, it used to be like, oh, I could color like probably 2 pages in a day, and now it's like I can color 1 page in a day from like completely finishing coloring on a page. And for time reference, I'm thinking like maybe I'm referring to a time about like 5 years ago, maybe. So not recently. It's not like a recent change, but you know, over the years greatly increased the amount of time I put into comics artwork. Okay. The newest Zelda. What is the newest Zelda? That's a good question, because Breath of the Wild, that's actually the game I'm playing right now, Breath of the Wild. And it was a big jump. Well, I played Twilight Princess, got through that, and then jumped to Breath of the Wild. And pretty big jump as far as like quality. I feel like, it's a good, Twilight Princess was a good game, but just I'm very impressed with how far the gaming has come from Twilight Princess to Breath of the Wild, and having a good time with Breath of the Wild. I saw a funny video reel pop up on my YouTube today with like what weapons are like in Breath of the Wild, and he's like breaking his weapons as soon as he hits something. I was like, that is the one thing that kind of bothers me about the game. I think it bothers me, but I actually understand it, and you can kind of think, well, hey, I understand why they did it, because it gets you to use a lot of weapons and kind of adds a new element to the game. But it took me a while to, enjoy it, and I still have a little bit of a, like, I really prefer using the Hyrule Shield and the Master Sword, because, how, like, they don't break. And that's pretty much like saying, you know what, I actually prefer the old way where weapons don't break. But yeah, that was what bothered me about the game at first, was like, what, your weapons break? Like, what? And I feel like that's kind of a new concept, right? And it took me a while to come to terms with that. Korok seeds definitely help. Okay. I feel like I didn't really do too much with the coloring on this first panel. The highlights might be a little weak, but I actually think that's probably how it should be drawn or colored. So maybe I'll just leave it like that. What happened to the Gummy Bear Girl? Is she going to come back in this issue? Yes. And I almost got her into pre-order. She's not going to be in pre-order, but the Gummy Bear Girl is coming back. She's coming back around again. Around the bend, yeah. Gummy Bear Girl is... there's... she's that villain that you can't just leave alone. You got to keep messing with her. So yeah, Gummy Bear Girl's coming back. Never played Zelda before. I have to play The Last of Us. You have to play Last of Us for university? That's interesting. Like, is it like a video game course? Or you learn how to like develop video games? I remember in high school, we had a freaking awesome graphic design class that I loved the graphic design, and it was like the one class that everybody tried to get into, because it was like 4 out of 5 days of the week, half the class you just played something. What was the game? It was like Doom, but everybody was connected on their computers, so it was basically graphic design / Doom playing. So like it was such a, what's that called, where like a throwaway class, or but like basically you're just. The funny thing is that was the most helpful class in my entire educational career. I don't. What do you call it? Educational journey, like from kindergarten through college. That graphic design class, which I played Doom like half the time, that was the most helpful class I ever took. It taught me how to use Photoshop and Illustrator, and like learn how to use those programs, and boom, you have a way of earning an income. And we were making that's the cool thing about that class, was like it wasn't just a class. People were actually making money in that class, because they would like find jobs for you in the class. And it was like, I'm sure that class produced so many graphic designers, because it just kind of like got you. It was basically like an apprenticeship. And I think after that class, I really understand why like trade schools are, so appealing and stuff, because it's like you hit the ground running, really. And I feel like Photoshop is one of those things where the longer you do it, and the more you kind of play around, and the more videos you watch on it, just the way it helps you become more capable of doing things. Seminar on TLOU, the Media Studies Lens. Oh, that sounds crazy. Okay, so I'm going to do like a white. I need highlights now. And for this little panel down here, it's been a growing sequence of her getting more and more angry. So this is final stage anger right here. So we got to do something crazy. I was thinking like trying out making her eyes all red. I didn't really do a background back here, so we might try like a red something, like explosion, fire, steam coming out of her ears or something. I wanted to leave my options open. So I've never played The Last of Us. I watched the series on Max, HBO, at least the season 1. Has season 2 come out for Last of Us? I don't think it has. I haven't heard anything about it. I got a little bit bored with the show. It felt a little calm, especially when you compare it with The Walking Dead. I feel like The Walking Dead was always managed to get my heart racing. And despite it kind of on a kind of, I guess, going downwards as far as quality, it seemed like every season got a little bit less good, but it still managed to get my heart racing, and I really enjoyed The Walking Dead show. Okay, so let's try that red. But I didn't enjoy The Last of Us the same way. It felt a little just calm. Now, there was the one episode that was the super like controversial episode, and I will say, like, I actually thought that was a very good episode. I have no experience with the game, so I understand how like a lot of people were like, that's not. They just wanted to like insert, the message into the show, and taking a little bit too much liberty with, that's not really what the game's about. And oh gosh, that looks super evil right there. She looks like a goblin. But I thought that as far story-wise, I thought the episode was good, and it made me feel emotions. So that's always a sign of a successful story. So, oh gosh, oh my gosh, if that was looking at me, I would be terrified. Wow, she's angry. Okay, so sorry for getting a little bit slow reaction to chat. I recently noticed that Win and Diane could make the infamous combination of blueberry pie and ice cream. Yeah. And I've been talking with somebody, and also, with all my doctor's appointments, I've been having time in the waiting room to kind of plot out everything that's going to happen in the story. And I do think we're going to use Diane and Win together. I can't really reveal much more than that, because I'm going to probably give out wrong information because I haven't made final decisions yet. But they're gonna be together. There'll be story with both of them. Okay. Wendy's wig has managed to stay intact because this is a very super glue, maybe something like that. I don't know. How do you keep wigs on so really well? What movie was that I just watched recently where, the Menendez brothers, The Monsters, on Netflix, which was a very binge-worthy show on Netflix. I got super into binging that one. That was the last series I think I watched, and I was just like, wow, this is really good. And I noticed it did really well in the streaming charts. Like, Monsters did amazingly well. And the funny thing is, I really enjoyed the Menendez Brothers Monsters show on Netflix. And then I saw that there was like an actual documentary, kind of for anyone interested in like, how did it really play out, or what's the actual stuff, like not so much of a drama, but actual documentary. And I started watching that, and I was just like, 5 minutes into it, I was like, oh, I'm bored as hell. I can't watch this. So that's kind of crazy to think, like, history is definitely in the hands of storytellers, because I know I'm not outside of the norm where what kind of stuff I enjoy watching. And like, I couldn't do the documentary. I was like done after 5 minutes, because it was just so like, I don't want to watch this. Like, people talking about what they were like, and just like, I don't care. That's just blah. But yeah. Monsters on Netflix, if you haven't watched it, like, I knew zip about the Menendez brothers before that documentary. I didn't even know they existed before that, so that was all kind of like news to me, and I have no idea how much of it was actually true or not. That's why I kind of started the documentary. I was very curious, but not curious enough to be bored out of my mind. I'll tell you that. So let's go with the real dark. It's kind of interesting how many like serial killer shows are on Netflix. I mean, I'm sure they they're interesting and they're it's like good TV. So yeah, I'm thinking about what all we can do, or you're suggesting doing the manga stress vein. Actually, I don't know what the stress vein. I'm not very familiar with manga. So, like, I do know about the nosebleed. That's one little piece of knowledge I know about from manga. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'll have to research what the stress vein is. Am I on Discord on Sunday? Oh, okay, Ghostly, you are you're maxed out, that kind of thing. So season 2 is published in spring. Oh, okay, so season 2 of Last of Us is going to be in 2025. All right. Wendy, Sith Eyes. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Sith Eyes. You've brought Star Wars into the chat. I'm gonna try to not get more into Star Wars because I don't have much to say about it. I do have a second Stormtrooper set of armor that I just recently repacked. I haven't worn my Stormtrooper armor in a long time. I saw that RS Prop Masters did a big production of Boushh helmets, you know, Leia in Boushh disguise from Return of the Jedi. They were so nice to look at. Very nice production value. Okay. Yeah, well, to in response to your chat, Wendy's hair was like a very bright red. It was probably too bright because it was like that's not a natural red color. Red hair is actually like orange if you know if you're drawing it. If you put red down, it's actually incorrect. It's very much like a rusty orange. Red hair is actually not natural. Ginger hair. Now I'm kind of curious. I'm probably going to sound stupid for saying this, but like ginger, is ginger a color? I know we've like it now, it represents a color like red hair, orange hair, but and how did that saying ever get started, like someone having red hair when it's not actually red, it's orange? It'd be interesting to know. Oh, that's the stress vein? Huh. Yeah, that's something I've never seen before, so I'll have to Google image that. Brunette Wendy was batshit crazy. Pink bob cut Wendy is completely delulu. Yeah, that's a pretty accurate description. It's almost like her hair color saturation matches her craziness. Oh, I do really love this panel. I think we're gonna have to work on it more because I don't like how it is right now. It needs some more modifications, but I think it's off to a really good start. I really like that. Okay, so let's finish Brittany's costume or outfit down here. Halloween's coming up. I don't have a costume yet. That's not good. Been just kind of overwhelmed with everything happening. My default costume is the Rebel pilot of Star Wars or the Stormtrooper. I've got a pirate costume, but I'm gonna have to think of something fun to do. I kind of like to try dressing up as the Joker because my girl wants to be Harley Quinn, and that would be a fun couple's costume. I know it's probably like late to the game, but that's definitely how I roll. Showing up late to the trend. I'll be like, that was trendy like 5 years ago. I'm gonna do it. Bringing it back. I'm listening to Spotify on my headphones, and the ad is for Kroger shipped, and now it comes with Disney Plus and Hulu, ESPN. I heard that. I was just like, wow, Disney is really in a bad spot when they're just like, hey, get it for free when you buy something. Like, what can we attach it to? I think there's probably going to be some interesting big news coming out with what's going on with Lucasfilm and Disney. I think that's probably going to come out pretty soon. With I think like the Gina Carano lawsuit, it sounds like something happened pretty big with that recently. I don't know what happened, but there was some kind of movement with it, and it's like everyone knows it's not going to go well for Kathleen Kennedy. And so I think the people at Disney are kind of upset that and trying to want to distance themselves from Lucasfilm somehow. So that'll be interesting to see how they do that. We've also got the presidential election coming up. I don't feel like talking about it, but I just want to say I feel like I am a European in my viewpoint of the American election, being like, I don't really care about it, but I am interested to see how it see what goes on. I think I will vote, but I don't know. I don't want to talk about who I feel like voting for, because it's not like I support either candidate. I am glad that Joe Biden dropped out, because I think that was pretty amazing. I was like, I don't think he's going to drop out. What reason does he have to drop out? But I think he was really... And then I was like, well, I mean, props to him for dropping out, because, person in power doesn't just give up power. But then I think realistically, he was forced out. So I don't think you can give him much props. There was probably more to that story than what meets the media. And I think I'm like most people when I say, I hate the media nowadays. I trust YouTube celebrities more than media. And I don't think that's uncommon either. If you're, like a Star Wars fan, I think you've gotten a firsthand account of just how rigged the media can be, and how like YouTube creators came and exposed the lies and kind of created a whole alternate news way of getting the news, I guess. Whole news community. Okay. Chat. Unfortunately, Halloween isn't that big in my country. I guess we'll carve some pumpkins. Ghostface. Scream. I was saying yesterday, like, I hate the Scream reboot. I just really hate it. There was one of the reboots or remakes, not really, I think, so Hellraiser, the one that Hulu put out, which I think Hulu is actually probably one of the better streaming platforms to have for Halloween, I think. It has Late Night with the Devil, which is my top pick for scary movies this year. But they're pretty dedicated to scary movie selection. But I do think Scream is on Netflix. The Hellraiser sequel, like, that was pretty good. It wasn't amazing, but I'm not sure any of the Hellraiser movies, in my opinion, are not that great. I would much prefer to watch the original Scream over the original Hellraiser. But I did not like the new Scream at all. It felt very way too like meta, like the new Matrix movie, where it just kind of gets like, oh, shut up, that kind of stuff. Like, why are you like talking about how you make the movie inside of the movie? Like, you're totally losing me. And I don't really care for breaking the fourth wall that much. I think Deadpool is the one exception to that. And then that was something I tried not too long ago in the Crypt Keeper series, where there's a story where someone gets pulled into the Crypt Keeper series, and they kind of trade places with someone inside of the Crypt Keeper comic, and then they get stuck inside the comic. So that was my little test the waters with how do I like creating like meta stories. And I think it turned out about as good as I could do, and I was like kind of made up my mind. I don't think I want to do that again. I'm just not really a fan of breaking the fourth wall. I still need to see Deadpool vs. Wolverine. I haven't seen that. I've seen a lot of clips. Gambit, I think Gambit was probably my favorite X-Men character, which is probably not something you should admit to, but I really liked Gambit, even though there's not much reason to. Like, it's not like he's amazing. I liked Gambit. And so I've watched all the Gambit scenes on YouTube. The original Scream is goated. It gets just bad after part 2. Yeah. That's true. It's Scream is one of those things where it's like it worked the first time, but not so much any after that. So that's speaking of like sequels and stuff. I know it talks about like the best sequels, Empire Strikes Back and Godfather Part 2. In the Gentleman story, I thought, Netflix Gentleman, I thought it was pretty funny that the brother, who is kind of a screw up, is named Freddy, just like Fredo from Godfather Part 2. The new X-Men. I have not seen the new X-Men 97 cartoon. It's on Disney, and I don't have Disney, so I've not watched it yet. But as if I ever do have Disney Plus, I'll definitely watch it. Have you watched it? Was it good? Did you like it? Nosferatu. Yeah. I actually don't think I've seen a preview for a new Nosferatu. I think I've heard about it, maybe. Heard a little bit of chatter about it. Not much. Okay, so this is... I'm working on Wendy. I'm just kind of like paying more attention to what I'm talking about more than the drawing itself. But let's go with the smoke detail. Probably need to give a little bit of focus to what I'm doing so I don't screw up. Wondering, do I do more? Let's see. How dark? Where does the darkness begin? My little dark age. My little dark belly. There we go. We probably want to do like a reflect. Oh shoot! Why am I not? Reflective shadow. What's that called? The back side. I can't believe I can't think of that term right now. That's bugging me. Not cast shadow. Oh, Gambit's in the X-Men 97? Cool. That makes me want to watch it more. I recently saw a shared comic page on a post from X-Men where some like cyborg or something was like shooting rays out. I think he was shooting rays out of his eyes and just destroying all the X-Men, and he like shot the blasted Cyclops in the head and was just like wasting all the X-Men. So I think that is from a comic series that's happening right now. That's probably a currently running series, and it was probably trying to get a little bit of people interested in the series, but kind of made me not want to because I like Cyclops. For some reason I like Cyclops too. He's the leader, and I don't know. I guess I respect him, even though he's probably a little bit vanilla, a little bit normal. I like Cyclops. I didn't really like how they did Cyclops in the is it Bryan Singer's trilogy? I don't think I've liked Cyclops in any of the movies. He was just like a good comic book character. What I mean is, I've enjoyed Cyclops in comics, but I haven't enjoyed him in any of the movies. Some TF that I wanted to do but never got the chance to do yet. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I haven't done yet. That's maybe bondage. Yeah, I mean, Cyclops in his original costume is just amazing. Like, there's some really good statues or that. Like, I feel like my favorite statues of X-Men are usually Cyclops. So he knows how to pose. Yeah, poses. He's photogenic. All right, I think Wendy is getting finished. We're finishing up with Wendy's shading. Got to make her look kind of rounded, I guess is the word for it. Shaded and spherical. Okay, there we go. We'll need some highlights now. I'm going to go a little bit more yellow. And I probably need to adjust the selection. I'm going to hide the selection just to make it easier to watch. Okay, here we go. I'm actually going to do it in a new layer too. We'll merge it pretty quickly after this, but sometimes it helps. If you notice on this like smoke detail brush, it's really good for adding the like skin texture in my humble opinion. It's has just enough texture to give the impression that it's not computer generated. Yeah, I think Beast is another X-Men that hasn't really translated into movies. That Beast is a really good character in. While we're on it, I was like, maybe none of the X-Men characters have translated well into movies and shows. I guess you could say the exception is Wolverine, and they've really, it's almost like they know that, and that's why they've, done so much with Wolverine, because he works on the movies. But at this point, Wolverine might be kind of getting a little overused, and so a little bit kind of old or cliche and lacking in interest now. Ready for something new, that kind of thing. All right, so I was definitely trying to make the highlights on the left side of her body, like to help emphasize that she's, falling over and at an angle. I have the first X-Men trilogy, and I've got it on DVD, like the whole set, and I'm ready to sell it. It's not that good. I need to like list that on Amazon, or not Amazon, eBay. I need to replace that movie set and get a different, trade it in for something else. Yeah, well, and the thing is, I'm trying to make digital art look not just hand drawn, more like I'm trying to make it look, trying to up the realism, and just like a subtle realism kind of thing. Like I'm not trying to make it look like you're looking at what it looks like, but definitely a little bit more realistic than what a comic normally shows. Let's go with her arms and legs now. How about that? How about that? Catch me outside. There we go. I think Emma Frost was always a good, interesting character too, and I don't know. I probably would start going like, maybe every character in the X-Men series is interesting, but every main character at least. Like I have some of the whole run. I've got a few of the whole runs of some different X-Men comic series, comic runs, and of course I'm like missing a few issues out of each run, but those are definitely like the one, the comic series, I guess, that the comic franchises that I do enjoy. I also liked the Harley Quinn and Gwenpool and Walking Dead. Those were my comic faves. Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I definitely have some exposure to Iron Man from the comics, but I really don't have that much exposure, so I don't really know how different Iron Man is in the movies from how he is in the comics. I was never really into the Avengers or the those runs, I guess you would call them, those stories. I didn't even know Guardians of the Galaxy was a thing until the movie came out. Probably not something I should admit to since I'm a comic artist. All right. The other day, I got my flu vaccine, not flu, pneumonia vaccine yesterday. And when the doctor asked me if I wanted my vaccine, I had that moment of like, oh my gosh, what day is it? What year is it? What month is it? Where like totally lost contact with reality. We're like, what point in history am I in? You know, like, isn't it summer? Why do I need a pneumonia vaccine? But that was just a really bizarre feeling. Does that ever happen to you, or am I crazy? Like, you're in a room and there's like just kind of gray walls, and then empty cabinets and chairs, like nothing for a point of reference, and then somebody asks you what day is it, and you're like, I have no idea. What month is it? What year is it? I don't know. It's a pretty common occurrence in this house where nobody knows what month it is. All right, let's get a little bit of highlight. Don't want to do the highlight too strong down here. Okay, so this is her thing, and I did notice that I'm not doing the bow tie on her chest piece thing anymore, and I'm not even really sure if it would look right if I did do the bow tie, because there's such a wide gap. It'd be like beep beep. Actually I do like it. Maybe I should start adding it. Be like, where did that bow tie come from? Or more accurately, like, where did it go? Like, why is it just now appearing? Best comic for manga, Doro Hidoro. Doro Hidoro. That's an interesting name. I will have to Google it after this. Yeah. In which kind of format do you want to show what happened to Zoe? So Zoe, I really wanted to do as, like a side comic. Basically give her like her own issue. And I think it would work because back when we did the Body Battles month, it seemed like Blueberry Cow was was the top choice. That combination was very popular. So as far as is there an audience for it, I think there is. Okay, this is where I do the multiply. I'm gonna do a little bit of purplish. I was recently I watched a YouTube video about the song The Purple People Eater and how I think it was, I'm gonna get mixed up. I probably shouldn't say anything because I'm gonna remember it all wrong, but I know that song led to the development of Alvin and the Chipmunks. And that's all I remember. The more you know. Okay, so let's go with that. Now we're going to do a highlight. I'll just go ahead and do it on a separate layer. And go with a small highlight. I kind of look at your playlist earlier. Oh, it's big. Oh yeah, LCD Sound System, Neutral Milk Hotel. Those, I actually have the albums for those two vinyl albums. I do have a record player and I don't use it enough. It doesn't have the needle return, so you have to physically put the needle back, and so that's what I don't like about my record player. If I had to get a new one, I would get one that automatically returns the needle and stops playing, because I end up just getting lazy. And but Strokes, Pixies, yeah. The first album from the Strokes, I've probably listened to that album like 1,000 times. It used to, when I was I remember one summer it was in my CD player in my car, and it was just like the only thing I listened to all summer. So yeah, I've got that one pretty much memorized. Pixies, yeah. You'll buy 3 times the Zoe issue. Okay, so we have 1 vote or 3 votes for the Zoe issue. Maybe that would be a good starting issue for if we kick Wendy out of the factory and she starts her own little side stories. That could be the first story she tells. That would be a fun way to kick it off. I think I'm listening to that playlist right now, and it sounds like I've reached the end, because I definitely didn't add Drive by Incubus on there. Not a bad song, but it's definitely it's playing music I think I would like. I think that's what it's doing. E Pro by Beck is a good one. I don't even know Wolf Like Me, but I'm gonna get back into songs I already know. What I Got is always like, I love that song. Boom, bum, ba-dum, bum. Oh, I mean, yeah, if it was a full comic, it would be a 2-month project on Zoe. But if it was in like an anthology series, it would probably be 1 month. That's, yeah, I probably spoke too soon there. It would be a 1-month thing on her because like you'd have to have 2 stories per issue, and that would be one of the stories. It could be like a month and a half, something like that. All right, so we're getting really close to being done with this. And I think the Wendy thing, the Wendy panel over here, that'll be our final coloring for this page. I'll save that for last. Save the best for last. All right, now for the gloves. I'm getting angry at the bills I have to pay. I do. I get angry at the bills I have to pay. Can't help it. Not every bill, but alright, we'll get a little bit of a dark shade on this. Actually, I wonder if we should go black. Why don't you go black? There we go. Alright, chat's popping off. Let's see what's going on. There must be the only one who doesn't get the Zoe love. Much more of an Andrea Maria Egg fan. Have you heard the Glow Part 2? I've not. Is the Glow by Aeroplane Over the Sea? No, that's not. Neutral Milk Hotel. That's the name of the band. Is the Glow from them? Do you have any plans to do more animal TFs in the future? I don't have plans, but I don't have any plans actually. That's the thing, where it's like I really haven't had time to make plans. I'm kind of just, I really should. I'm kind of just living day to day and sort of trying to survive the project in front of me, and I haven't put much effort into thinking about what's going on in the future. But that's okay, because that allows for spontaneity, maybe. So yeah, I can definitely stick some. Oh, I forgot to erase her like pant lines. That's what these lines are. Didn't notice that. Actually, that kind of helped. Kind of helped make it. Okay, so Yeah, I don't have any other animal TF plans, but I don't have any plans, so that if that offers a little bit more perspective into what that answer means. Could definitely do more animal TFs. You already pre-ordered the first anthology issue and it hasn't even been written out yet. Yeah. Well, that sounds like a winner then. Yeah. The non-existent issue, we got to get that into existence. The microphones. Okay, so I will check out. I'm going to go ahead and just type that in so I don't forget about it. Microphones. The glow. Ah, okay. Kroger ad. Okay. Hippos, manatees, whales. I did do a manatee transformation in the Sanderson Stepsisters. Have you read the Sanderson Stepsisters? Yeah, well, Andrea, I'm not, I should, getting tongue-tied. I'm not as big a fan of Blueberry Zoe cow as I am of Andrea and like pear-shaped and egg-shaped kind of things. So I think Andrea and the egg will be in this epilogue, and Zoe would be in the other issue. So let's use that. Diane, and yeah, like we were saying, I think Diane's going to be in this. I like Diane for the juicing room. Right now, the Blue album from Weezer is in my CD player in my car, and so that's like usually what I just start playing, and I never remember to bring a new CD into the car, so I've worn the heck out of Blue album by Weezer, and that's a very old album. It's very old. It's produced. When was that produced? Like, was it like 1999 or something? That's a very old album. I think I lost interest in Weezer real quick. I liked the Blue album, and then I remember hearing the Green album and being okay with it, but not enough to be like, oh yeah, I'll go listen to some more Weezer. All right, so now we need to do her boot weights. These are like brass boots or something. So we're gonna go with like a more orange for the shade. And the yellow will be kind of like a highlight. So it's gonna kind of look gold. I guess brass would be a lot more orange. Alright, there we go. I think we might be done coloring everything besides this panel over here. I need to probably do a little bit of shading on this contraption over here. Probably won't take too much. It's 97. That is Pinkerton. Yes, Pinkerton was pretty cool too. It was, you know, just like unusual and kind of good, and that's usually a good mixture. Not the normal, like, churned out. Pinkerton is pretty excellent in the rest of their outputs. Yeah. Yeah, they got way too, what's, you know, like, what is the word? Just like Hollywoodized or sellout? Unoriginal? It's kind of funny how that normally isn't it backwards where it's like, no, I think that's pretty much the normal story where I was thinking, do you normally start out with very bad stuff and you get better? But with them, it was like they started out with very good original kind of stuff and then kind of transitioned into like predictable and not good. Yeah, the buttons. How do you like these buttons? And she definitely added post-it notes to help drive the point home. Just in case, you know, want to make it super clear. Just so there's no mistakes. We wouldn't want that. I might come in and add a color on top of it, but I don't want to. It's like I was saying earlier, I'm afraid that there's too much high color, too many high color objects getting included in the scene, and I want to keep it as minimum as I can when I can. All right, so I'm going to go with this sample brush here. We want a little bit of like a extra level of detail. We want dots and stuff. That helps make it look very close, I should say. And I don't want any color on it right now. It might be good to, you know, with like modeling, like when you're doing models, not modeling, but when you're painting models, it's good to add just like little tiny touches of color. And it makes a big difference. So I might be doing that on this. And I'll do like a highlight and then we'll be done. A lot of times the bare minimum is just like do a darkness, do a highlight, you're done. That's all you really need. Your bread and butter. I was wondering if I should color the buttons for air and juice. Maybe not yet. because I don't want it. I want it to be something that you don't immediately notice, but it's something you're like, as you're kind of looking at the whole scene, then you're like, what is that? I think that's the one of the keys to foreshadowing is not to like blast it at the viewer. You don't want it to be too obvious, but you do want it to be noticeable. Okay, let's get a shade for this. Right. Does anyone here go to Comic Cons or anything like conventions or anything like that? I don't, but more of like I just don't like crowds, and I like to kind of stay out of the spotlight kind of thing. I don't do well with crowds, and I like keeping it more personal. My body doesn't do very well with crowds too, because I'm immunocompromised. Usually means I'm gonna end up sick for 2 weeks if I get into a crowd. Brittany will be undergoing some changes. You could say that. You could say something's gonna happen to her. I don't want to spoil anything because it is happening in this issue, and it's just not gonna be shown in the pre-order, but it will be shown in this comic. But I like Brittany, so, you know, she's a good character. I don't want to waste her, and I don't want to, like, lose her. Lose her. Alright, there we go. I guess I should do the zipper. I think that's probably good enough. Well, I hope this page coloring has definitely hit you with some curiosity, piqued your curiosity about what's about to happen in this issue. Because this will be a much more active in what happens than the previous issue. The previous issue, I feel like, had quite a bit of establishment and setup. Because, you know, it's like the first issue, so you have to set up what's happening and where they are, and kind of set the mood. I shouldn't. I'll put all these little. I'm gonna stop doing little tiny fixes right now, because that's probably not what you're here to see. But it is something that you have to do. Is you got to go through and make sure all these little call them pinholes when you're painting, because when you're painting on canvas, a lot of times a little tiny like square in the canvas. Weaving is like a deep impression, and paint misses like a tiny little weave, and so that's what they call oh shoot, what do they call that? I already forgot what they call it. Filling in the pinholes, is that what I called it? I feel like pain meds have built up in my system. Yeah, I think it's pinholes. I think that's the right word. All right, now let's go for the grand prize. Wendy. Angry Wendy. In previous issues, I remember in Wonka 2.2, she kind of turns into the devil, or, you know, she's got the angel and the devil on her shoulder, and we see her go full devil and try to attack Zoe because she thinks Zoe is working for Slugworth. But let's pull up the multiply. Oh, we probably should select first. Select, pull up the multiply, and now let's have some fun. I'm gonna just experiment real quick. We should probably deselect everything outside because I don't want to mess that up. Alright, so selection is good. This might not work, but I'm just playing around here. I'm gonna experiment. Probably no to that. I think her red eyes looked pretty intense when it's not that red. Like, we definitely need some red, but her red eyes jump off the page. They pop when her skin looks more kind of like a normal beige color, tan, whatever you call it. So if we go too red, the red eyes are not going to have the impact that they do right now. I mean, she's looking like Darth Maul or something, you know? What do you mean there's no candy? I don't know, like, I need to watch a comedy because I'm definitely need a few laughs. I can create some red away from her eyes. As long as it's not like right up next to her eyes. The eyes don't kind of blend in with everything. So let's go with her nose a little bit red too. And I probably I don't want to make it too complicated. You know, it needs to stay simple or else it starts losing its magic. That's all I know how to describe it as. When you put too much work into it, loses the magic. Let's try like red for the like cross-hatching area. Yeah, that's not bad. It's minimal enough. But let's do... I'd like to try out some of these other brushes. What is this? Oh, that's way too... That's not right. That's going to be like an inking brush. Well, let's not. Let's go with... Let's do a little bit more on the lower cheeks. Or is that too much? I think it is. All right. I think that works without getting too much. Let's see if we... If we do that. Her white teeth are definitely popping. I'm wondering if I need to shade her teeth just a little bit. About like a little bit of shade. Okay, so yeah, I think I'll probably be closing the stream here in a few minutes. Yesterday I probably streamed for too long because I ended up having to come down and try to get caught up and worked a lot last night and ended up having to stay up too late. So I gotta work fast, and don't want to give out too much information, so I think 2 pages being streamed is probably the most I should do right now. I will go ahead and give you a little bit of a little foreshadowing. What's the word? I'm starting to fall apart over here. Brittany is not going to turn into a blueberry cow. I'll just reveal that much. It's not that predictable. I feel like that's probably what everyone's automatically going to assume, but that's not what's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to do a multiply. Just do a little bit of a... Let's do that soft. Kind of help shade a little bit extra. Is extra still a gum? Is that still around? I haven't chewed gum in a long time. Okay. Okay, so a interesting idea. As for the blonde girl who escaped from Wendy. The blonde girl who escaped from Wendy, I call her Mindy. Mini Wendy. Because she's kind of the replacement for Wendy, I guess. Or I don't want to say too much and give you the wrong idea, but she is basically like Wendy's daughter, or Wendy and young Wendy's competition, you might say. She did come out. She was born out of Wendy, pretty much. So, Mini Wendy is Mindy. Okay, I think we're done coloring. I should probably... This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to, like, do an extra... This is probably what I would do when I'm doing backgrounds, but I wanted to... do some, like, vignettes. to help like add some visual interest to this right here. Definitely adds a little more intensity to it, spotlighting her. I should probably add a little bit of a highlight too. That's what it's missing. I didn't add any highlight to her there. Might have to get some lunch after this. It's actually probably dinner. Yeah, it's dinner time. Last night we did the home chef. I don't know if you've ever seen those like delivery services that deliver meals that you cook at home. So we're trying it out, and very, very impressed. Like, very good meal and not bad with price. You know, it's about the same price as eating out, but you get like a really good meal. Very good flavors. And that's Home Chef. All right, so getting back to chat. Let's see. I'm curious if you had top 3 TFs from Wendy Wonka so far, what would they be? Top 3 TFs. I really liked issue 1. There's, you know, multiple TFs in that one, and I liked all of them. What else? I enjoyed 2.2 with, you know, Brittany and Zoe. I enjoyed Crystal Caverns. Those are the ones that definitely stick out to me the most. I'm trying to think what else. The other one that sticks out to me, I don't know if it wasn't like I don't know how to say this on YouTube, but the one with the TV, the transference guy, I had fun drawing that one, and I like the story for it. It wasn't exactly like it wasn't as exciting as the other ones in certain ways, but it was fun. So I don't know. I think that's like an honorable mention, I guess. I think YouTube has blocked any link you sent for me to open as far as that TF idea. So you might have to send it to me on Discord or through DA Note if you'd like me to check that out. Mindy, the mini Wendy, will be a feature. She is a, like I said, like a co-star in the other story that we're going to be getting into in this issue. So we'll see her in part 2 after pre-order. So that message for Bill John is, yeah, I think YouTube doesn't allow links to be sent in chat, so you would have to send that to me. Oh yeah, there you go. DA Note. So with pre-order, I do pre-order through eJunkie or Selfie. Those are my 2 main stores now, eJunkie and Selfie. My first time releasing pre-order through Selfie was with Crib Keeper 16, and so I've gone through the learning experience of what to do on eJunkie, so it'll go much smoother this time. The operators of eJunkie are actually they've contacted me and are like, we'll help you this time just reach out to us and we're gonna make it go much more smoothly for you. And I was like, oh, awesome. Like getting help from the like president of eJunkie or owners. So that's really cool. It will go much more smoothly. It was unfortunate how it happened, and it was a learning experience. So a lot of people had trouble with their pre-order in like the first 30 minutes when I released it, and then it wasn't a huge big deal, but it didn't go. I put a lot of effort into trying to make it go smoothly, and usually it's like I work for like a day or two to try to make everything just like happen according to plan. You know, do all the groundwork before you release just to make sure there's no problems, because usually if there's a problem, it becomes a massive problem if it's a problem after you release it. And did that enough to realize that, learned from those experiences. Like you don't want it to mess up after you've released it. You want it to mess up, or you want to catch any mess ups before that. So yeah, put more effort into that usually. Oops. Well, what are you looking to do? I know PayPal works as far as like you can pay with a credit card through PayPal, but I don't know if you can pay with PayPal balance. That's not. If you wanted to shoot me a note or something, I could try. I have a way to now. If you wanted to pre-order, if you send me a email or message, I can figure out how to. I've figured out. I should say that way. I know how to get you the copy. If you wanted to find an alternate method, I'm not sure what you would use instead of a credit card, but all right, I think we're done here. Yeah. So I could definitely play around with some text, which I'm going to. This is going to be tough because it goes from like black to white. Let's do yellow. Red. I wonder if we should do a gradient. For some reason it feels like it's, oh, there, the opacity, that's why. So we would have to change this to black. I feel like I could do a white bubble down here. I'm gonna ring your... Oh. Okay. All right, so that's it, and I'm gonna say goodbye for the day and get on with the next page. I've got a little bit of inking to do. I'm trying to think. I think I can pull that up real quick. Whoops. So this is what I'm working on next. Brittany going down. Got a little bit of inking to do up there, but then I've already got like the next pages finished, so that's reassuring, knowing how much work I have laid ahead for me in the weekend. But thank you for dropping by. Thanks for chatting. I've had a great time chatting with you guys, talking about everything comic and okay comics and other comics. So thanks for dropping by, and if you're not subscribed, definitely subscribe, because that'll help you be notified of the next time I live stream. I will probably live stream as I color some backgrounds, but that might be this weekend. Well, I mean, today's Friday, so of course it will be. I'll probably jump on the live stream for a little bit this weekend if you'd like to come join me for that. Thank you for joining me. And again, this is Wendy Wonka, and pre-orders coming out Tuesday. Thanks again for joining me, and I will